Welcome to Training Industry Quarterly Electronic Magazine, Spring 2012 edition podcast of the article, The Difference Makers, Identifying and Hiring the Right People by Dr. Bobby Baker. Think about the people who deliver a great customer experience. The store employee who gives you his undivided attention on an exceptionally busy day. The local franchise manager who remembers your name and asks about your family. Or the flight attendant who overhears you say that you have a headache and brings you an aspirin before you ask. These employees are going above and beyond the functional requirements of their jobs, and their service-driven behaviors contribute significantly to your customer experience and satisfaction. Today, business success requires more than the delivery of goods or services. To truly stand out among all consumer choices, companies must deliver an experience that differentiates their brand and creates a lasting, positive impression among customers. However, despite well-intentioned vision statements, inspirational posters, and incentive programs, most companies fall short delivering intended brand experiences and wobble along in mediocrity. One of the primary reasons behind this persistent mediocrity is the failure to consistently identify and hire individuals who can not only do their jobs, but who will represent your brand and thrive in your company culture. Most agree that the characteristics that determine difference makers, employees who truly care about the company, co-workers, and customers, can't be taught, no matter how intense the training. And commonly, most assume these characteristics are intangible and can't be measured. However, using a scientific approach, you can measure intangible qualities such as the drive to serve, a we over me attitude, or the confidence to use best judgment in tough situations. When such brand and culture-critical characteristics are factored into the selection process, along with skill and knowledge evaluations, companies see a range of business improvements, from increased revenues to improved product quality to higher customer satisfaction. Identifying that special something. Here's the catch. It's not a simple exercise to pinpoint the qualities that make a difference for your company. We all want employees to be fully engaged, dependable, and team players, for example. However, you must go deeper to identify and analyze the unique characteristics that make your organization tick. You've got to delve into your company's culture, its brand, and its intended customer experience, and articulate the behaviors and values that will foster and support your vision. This isn't a trivial exercise, but the work involved is well worth the effort. If more companies took the time for this foundation work, problems with employee engagement, retention, lackluster performance and service would be greatly diminished. One company that knows its secret sauce is Tejas. This southwestern grill-style restaurant, now in 11 cities throughout the western United States, enjoys dramatically low employee turnover and off-the-charts guest satisfaction. How has Tejas defied the odds in an intensely competitive industry with notoriously high turnover? For nearly 8 years, Tejas CEO Stephen Micheletti has led a charge to build a culture of extraordinary guest service. The company has developed an assessment based on extensive scrutiny of the company's culture and commitments to customers to measure a candidate's drive to serve. Yes, there is such a thing as a hospitality gene, and it can be measured prior to hire. The assessment is built on a clearly defined vision of company goals, principles, and promises. As a result, Tejas is able to identify and hire the employees most likely to succeed in its service-driven culture. For example, one of Tejas's goals is for employees to feel the restaurant is the best place they have ever worked. The company's vision document spells out a set of promises between employees and management for achieving this goal. This kind of analysis and documentation is directly linked to the company's ability to identify the traits employees need to fit and thrive in the organization. As a result, its assessments have allowed the company to hire employees with the greatest likelihood to keep these promises. Measuring the intangibles. Companies, large or small, in any industry can emulate Tejas's approach for pinpointing candidates who are difference makers and weeding out those who are not. In the case of Sunny Vista, an independent skilled nursing facility in Colorado Springs, assessments were used to identify those candidates with a capacity for extra care and compassion. In 2010, faced with a very competitive environment and high turnover of nursing staff, Sunny Vista's executive director, Janet Burns, led a charge to analyze needs and implement more strategic and consistent methods for evaluating nursing candidates. The company developed hiring assessments to evaluate candidates with specific traits and motivations critical for elder caregiving. Today, Sunny Vista is able to precisely identify the difference makers who fit with its philosophy of dignified elder care. In a similar way, executives at financial services provider UMB mandated back in 2003 that employees at all levels carry out the corporate mission to provide the unparalleled customer experience. But this mission, despite high visibility, wasn't carried out consistently. In early 2011, the UMB talent acquisition team analyzed jobs and identified critical competency areas as the basis for developing a customized index designed to measure 3 performance dimensions. Pride, embracing UMB values, possessing a positive attitude, demonstrating belief in the company, coworkers, and oneself, making customers feel special. Passion, showing enthusiasm and empathy, creating a welcoming environment, making connections with others, showing appreciation to customers. Power, demonstrating a green light attitude, being confident and a good teammate, setting the example for others, showing a willingness to be accountable. The UMB team administered the tool to a sample of 152 of its associates in customer-facing positions in 3 regions with historically high turnover. By testing the test on known performances, UMB could see that the assessment was accurate and reliable and would provide a meaningful tool in its hiring process, along with its competency assessment and behavioral interview. At the end of 2011, UMB began rolling out the index in all of its retail banking centers as part of its standardized hiring process. Ultimately, UMB talent executives envision the index will be used for screening all job applicants, not just for those with customer-facing roles, to help the company select the right people across all levels of the organization. Where assessment fits into the hiring process. Assessments are only one part of the hiring process. In addition to ensuring that assessments are well designed and properly validated, you need to ensure consistency with other elements in the process, such as applications, competency tests, and interviews. If these elements are not aligned and coordinated, your efforts to identify difference makers will be sabotaged. Additionally, you obviously must ensure the candidates have the competencies required to technically perform the job. Here are some general guidelines on where and how specialized assessments might fit into an analysis and refinement of your hiring process. Step 1. Understand the elements of the job. Identify the knowledge, skills, and competencies required for technical performance. This is a first step, not an ending step. When it comes to hiring, too many companies base their hiring decisions on basic job descriptions. Step 2. Understand the behaviors and characteristics that differentiate top performance from mediocre performance in the job. We advise companies to scrutinize top performers within their own organizations, as well as to research how the job is performed in other companies, including competitors. Step 3. Identify the behaviors and characteristics that are essential for a cultural fit and for delivering the intended customer experience appropriate for the job. This is an essential step in identifying potential difference makers and weeding out those candidates who are not good fits. Step 4. Design selection assessments and set up a validation process to ensure that measures reliably predict the desired performance. This step is critical. All assessments, whether customized or off-the-shelf, must be validated. Step 5. Once assessments are validated, create supporting tools for the selection and hiring process, including applications, competency tests, and interview guides. Step 6. Ensure that all involved in the hiring process are familiarized with the entire process, all tools, and the objectives. Starting with the InGame in mind. Our advice to companies seeking to improve hiring quality is to start with the InGame. Ask, what are the reasons we're in business? And what is the experience we want for customers? Know the specific employee attributes and behaviors that are a good fit with the way you do business and build measurements, both quantitative and subjective, for these attributes into your hiring process. The use of scientifically constructed applications, assessments, and interviews will increase the likelihood that you are hiring the people who will thrive in your corporate environment, have a passion to contribute to your company's success, and live your brand on a day-to-day basis. There are positive results to be seen in companies of all sizes and across many industries. Identifying and hiring the difference makers will have a direct, positive business impact on your growth and long-term success. Dr. Bobby Baker is Vice President of Research and Development for Corvirtus. Takeaways. Too often, organizations lose sight of the fact that it's people that drive success. As a result, businesses often fall short in hiring the right types of people, with a negative impact on customer experiences. Creating a remarkable customer experience is the way today's best companies differentiate themselves from their competition and build customer loyalty. In order to create such experiences, businesses must hire the people who will fit, perform, and stay. Functional competence is not the only factor critical to success, especially when it comes to authentic brand delivery to customers. With a more scientific approach to hiring assessments, organizations can precisely identify the difference makers who possess the qualities needed to deliver the company's intended brand experience and thrive in the corporate culture. You've been listening to The Difference Makers, Identifying and Hiring the Right People by Dr. Bobby Baker. For more podcasts and articles like this, visit www.trainingindustry.com. Thanks for listening. I'm John Sherlock.